Faster Mind, good evening and welcome to the Manx Radio Folk Show with me, John Barker, playing you the best in folk and roots music from the Isle of Man and from all around the world. Tonight's show starts with a new single by Emar, featuring Thomas Callister and Adam Rhodes, of course, from the Isle of Man. And for the first time, they've got a singer, and that singer is the very fine Paul McKenna. This track is called Always You, and it's out now.
Searching for so long, hoping you'd come along. Could have been halfway there by now. No more guessing where and how. It's you. It's always you. It's always you. It's always you. We've been trying for so long, hoping, trying to stay strong. Could have been halfway there by now. No more guessing where and how. It's you. It's always you. It's always you. It's always you. Now we are in the here and now. No more guessing where and how. It's you. It's always 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 you. 'Cause it's always got to be, always is, always gotta be all I see, all that I could be for you. It's always got to be, always is, always gotta be all I see, all that I could be you.
So that was the new single by Emar. Now this show goes out on the 30th of January, so that gives me the last chance to play January Man. The very well-known song of that title was written by Dave Goulder, who was born on the 1st of January in 1939. He was a railway footplate man, a mountaineer, a motorcyclist, a classical music enthusiast, a Spanish guitar player, a songwriter, poet, singer, hedge layer, junk sculptor, naturalist, community arts administrator and dry stone walling master craftsman. He lives in Scotland still, and the version of the song I'm going to play for you is from the very first Unthanks album. Well, it's actually by Rachel Unthank and the Winter Setters. They were known for their first two albums. So this is from 2005, January Man.
The January man, he walks the road in woolen coat and boots of leather. The February man, he shakes the snow from off his hair and blows his hands. The man of March much he sees the spring and wonders what the year will bring, and hopes for better weather. Through April rains the man comes down to watch the birds come in to share the summer. The man of May stands very still, watching the children dance away the day. In June the man inside the barn is young and wants to lend a hand, and grins at each new colour. And in July the man in cotton shirts, he sits and thinks on being idle. The August man in thousands takes the road to watch the sea and find the sun. September man is standing here to saddle up another year, and autumn is his bridal. The man of New October takes the reins, and early frost is on his shoulder. The poor November man sees fire and rain, and snow and mist and wintry gale. December man looks through the snow to let 11 brothers know they're all a little older. The January man comes round again in woolen coat and boots of leather, to take another turn along the icy road he knows so well. The January man is here at the start of each and every year. That road forever.
Now, a song of the same title appeared on Roy Harper's last album. That album was released in 2013, Man and Myth, and it's a fantastic album, as good as his 1970s output, I would say. Roy Harper was born just a couple of years after Dave Goulder in 1941, so he was 72 when he released this album.
Time fell away as I stepped out my door into bright summer day. With you on my mind, your words in rewind on eternal replay. Without a grey hair on my head, weaving you into every last thread of the dream I had. I lost control of my emotions in the notion of your grace. I lost control of my emotions, tear ran down my face. Time fell away, and by chance there I was, back in the day. as time fell away, and suddenly there you were in your doorway, without a stray thought in your head, hanging on every last breath of the things we said. I lost control of my emotions in the oceans of your eyes. I lost control of my emotions. Oh, I do apologize. Saying things I didn't mean to, but of course I did. Falling in between the cracks of truth and somewhere else I should have run and hid. Time fell away, licking my wounds, a lifetime astray. A January man must do what he can, keeping winter at bay, stoking the dream he still has, long summer days in the haze, lad and lads, lad and lads, into the longest grass, into the
So that was Roy Harper with his song called January Man. Now, Roy Harper was one of the regulars at Les Cousins, the basement club that held all-nighters in the 1960s. It actually started as the Skiffle Cellar in 1959 and was reopened by new owners in 1964 as Les Cousins Club Continental. But everyone assumed it was owned by a man called Les Cousins. There's a fabulous new box set of 3 CDs featuring regulars who played there. There's everyone from Bert Jan, Shal Stewart, Donovan, John Renbourn, John Martin, Roy Harper, Michael Chapman, Long John Baldry, Nick Drake, all sorts of people. I thought I'd play a few tracks over the next few weeks. And I'm going to start with a man who came to the Big Wheel Blues Festival probably about 15 years ago. It's Whiz Jones. This is his song, See How the Time Is Flying, from 1970.
See how the time is flying, you know the game by now. That fellow with a sickle, gonna get you anyhow. Bet you were a child of sadness, little boy, remember when? Looking at the grown-up people, gee, I'd like to be like them. But the baby dreams of long ago, how the birthdays seem to come and go. Did you know then that you'd be sitting here and crying, watching how the time is flying? another story. Tell me more of those pretty lies, with the women young and lovely, and the men are brave and wise. But now the magic box is open, and you cannot see inside. Where's the little prince and princess? Has the wizard really died? Oh, it's hard to put away them pretty things, magic carpet rides and diamond rings, how they cling to you when you're sitting here and crying, watching how the time is flying. When a rose is barely blooming, don't you think it feels the pain? Hear a songbird in the morning crying out tomorrow's name. See, the world has fell in love with yesterday. When the changes come, she looks the other way, hopes to stay here and now, with you sitting here and crying, watching how the time is flying.
So there's another track of that Les Cousins box set very soon. But in the meantime, there's been many Manx artists playing up at Celtic Connections in Glasgow this last couple of weeks, and in fact this week too. It's a big night on the 25th of January, with Heisk featuring Alec Allister playing at the Tramway, Ruth Keggin playing, and Elizabeth Davison Blythe and Daniel Quayle. Also playing through the festival are Trip and McClear. More of that later. Here from Heisk's new album, Headstrong, is a track called Ericsson. From right up to date with Heisk in 2024, let's go back to Les Cousins. And this box set that I've got, called Les Cousins, the soundtrack of Soho's legendary folk and blues club, and in 1965, regulars there were Shirley Collins and Davy Graham. This is Nottingham Town.
In Nottingham Town, not a soul would look up, not a soul would look up, not a soul would look down, not a soul would look up, not a soul would look down, to show me the way to fair Nottingham Town. I rode a big horse that was called a grey mane and grey tail, grey stripes down her back, grey mane and grey tail, green stripes down her back. There weren't a hair on her but what was called black. She stood so still, she threw me to the dirt, she tore my hide and bruised my shirt. From saddle to stirrup I mounted again, and on my 10 toes I rode over the plain. Saw the king and queen and a company of men a walking behind and riding before, a stark naked drummer come marching along, with his hands in his bosom a beating his drum. Sat down on a hot, cold, frozen stone. 10,000 stood round me, yet I was alone. Took my hat in my hand to keep my head warm. 10,000 got drowned that never was born.
Now, speaking of musical virtuosity, the Urban Folk Quartet are right up there with the best of them. They've got a new album coming out in March called True Story, and they've released a new single from it called Indian Tea.
Two roads forked in a yellow wood. Me and one travel along. I stood and I looked down one as far as I could to where it bent around. I thought the other one just as fair, for it was grassy and wanted wear. As for that, the passing there had warned them about the same. So give yourself a break. Your poor old head is aching. Sit down with a glass of Indian tea, sipping the here and now.
less traveled by.
Both roads that morning equally. I left the first for another day, for I know how way leads on to way, and doubted I'd return. Someday I'll relate this with a sigh. Two roads forked in a wood, and I took the road less traveled by. The difference that has made. So give yourself a break. Your poor old head is aching. Sit down with a glass of Indian tea, sipping the here and now. You might have a question, a decision of direction. A blinding truth might smack your eye along the road less traveled by. Give yourself a break. Your poor old head is aching. Sit down with a glass of Indian tea, sipping the here and now. You might have a question, a decision of direction. A blinding truth might smack your eye along the road less traveled by. Give yourself a break. Your poor old head is aching. Sit down with a glass of Indian tea, sipping the here and now. You might have a question, a decision of direction. A blinding truth might smack your eye along the road less traveled by.
Now, that brilliant musician from the south of the island, Owen Williams, has a new release out called Lo-Fi EP2. It's available on Bandcamp, and from it, this is Garashta, which, as far as I can work out, just means garage. Another new release I'm looking forward to hearing is the new album by Blair Dunlop, and I went looking for it on Bandcamp and the usual sites, but it must not be released yet. But I did come across this from his very first solo album, Bright and Blossom, from 2012, and it's a song that Richard Thompson gave to Blair for the album. Of course, Richard Thompson played with Blair Dunlop's father, Ashley Hutchins, in Fairport Convention. Anyway, the song is called Seven Brothers.
Seven brothers sat by the road, and everyone was dressed in black. They smiled at everyone who passed. They smiled at them, but none smiled back. A stranger passed along the road, says the first brother, he'll be mine soon. I'll clot the blood within his veins, and his heart will burst like a child's balloon. Another stranger passed them by, says the second brother, soon he will moan. He'll feel the claws dig at his bowels, and he'll pray to the God he's never known. Another stranger passed them by, says the third brother, the job's in hand. With corruption I'll fill his lungs, and he'll drown standing on dry land. Another stranger passed them by, says the fourth brother, the seed is sown. I'll darken his mind with helplessness, and the hand on the gun will be his own. Another stranger passed them by, says the fifth brother, his race is run. I'll send his car to the edge of the cliff, and friends will mourn he died too young. Another stranger passed them by, says the sixth brother, he'll try to hide. He'll seal each crack in pane and door, but still the plague will get inside. Another stranger passed them by, says the seventh brother, this one I'll reap. Peacefully in his old age, his breath will falter in his sleep. There were seven brothers sat by the road, watching the human promenade, filling their appointment books, working at their father's trade. There were seven brothers sat by the road, and none could look them in the eye. They sent a shiver through the bones of every soul who passed them by.
Now, live folky music happening around the island this week. Well, you've got the O'Donnell session tomorrow night, the Wednesday night in Douglas. It'll be the Mitre traditional session on Friday night from about 8:30 in Ramsey. The Laxey Sailing Club session will be Sunday afternoon from 12:30 till 4. There'll be the Ramsey Folk Club on Thursday evening in the Buffs Club in Ramsey. And also the Athol Room concerts on Friday night have Ruby Biscoe Taylor and Matt Kelly. That'll be a good night. Further afield, as part of Celtic Connections on Saturday night, if you're in Glasgow, you can go and see Maclear. I'm going to play a track from their album Livewire. This is track 2, Woodstock Lenny. Now, one thing that happened as part of Celtic Connections this year that I would love to have seen was the Bothy Band reunited. One of my favourite tracks by them is this one, The Death of Queen Jane, sung by Michael O'Donnell.
Queen Jane lay in labour for 9 days or more, till the women grew so tired they could no longer bear. They could no longer bear. Good women, good women as ye be, will you open my right side and find my baby, and find my baby. Oh no, cried the women, that's a thing that never can be. We will send for King Henry and hear what he may say, and hear what he may say. King Henry was sent for, King Henry did come, saying, what to ail you, my lady? Your eyes, they look so dim, your eyes, they look so dim. King Henry, will you do one thing for me? That's to open my right side and find my baby, and find my baby. Oh no, cried King Henry, that's a thing I'll never do. If I lose the flower of England, I shall lose the branch too. I shall lose the branch too. Was fiddling I and dancing on the day the babe was born, but poor Queen Jane beloved lay cold as a stone, lay cold as a stone.
Now, returning to that box set from Les Cousins, put together by the great Ian A. Anderson, who used to run Folk Roots magazine and now releases an excellent podcast monthly called Pod Wireless. And there's a nice link from the Bothy Band to this next track by Sweeney's Men. And in Ian Anderson's notes, it says nobody knew it at the time, but of course Andy Irvine, Johnny Moynihan and Terry Woods would all go on to be icons of the Irish and UK folk music, involved in mighty bands like Planxty, Patrick Street, Steel Ice Band and the Pogues. Significantly, Moynihan and Irvine were directly responsible for the introduction to Irish music of the bouzouki, now a standard instrument. By Sweeney's Men, this is Reynard the Fox.
March in the year 93, the first recreation was in this country. The King's County gentlemen o'er hills, dales and rocks, they rode out so joyfully in search of a fox. Tally-ho, hark away, tally-ho, hark away, tally-ho, hark away, me boys, away, hark away. When Reynard was started, he faced Tullamore and Arklow and Wicklow along the seashore. We kept his brush in view every yard of the way, and it's straight he made his course through the streets of Rossfray. Tally-ho, hark away, tally-ho, hark away, tally-ho, hark away, me boys, away, hark away. But Reynard, sly Reynard, lay hid there that night, and we swore we would watch him until the daylight. Next morning, early the hills did resound with the sweet smell of horses and the sweet cry of hounds. Tally-ho, hark away, tally-ho, hark away, tally-ho, hark away, me boys, away, hark away. When Reynard was started, he faced to the hollow, where none but the footmen and hounds they could follow. The gentleman cried, watch him, what will we do? If the rocks do not stop him, he will cross Killaloe. Tally-ho, hark away, tally-ho, hark away, tally-ho, hark away, me boys, away, hark away. When Reynard was captured, his wishes to fulfill, he sent for pen and paper and ink to write his will. And what he made mention of, we found it no blank, for he gave us a check on the National Bank. Tally-ho, hark away, tally-ho, hark away, tally-ho, hark away, me boys, away, hark away. Oh, to you, Mr. Casey, I leave my whole estate, and to you, Mr. Johnson, my money and my plate. I give to you, Sir Monaghan, my whip, spurs and cap, for you jumped hedge and ditches and ne'er looked for a gap. Tally-ho, hark away, tally-ho, hark away, tally-ho, hark away, me boys, away, hark away.
Well, that's all I've got time for tonight, apart from one song. I'll leave you with a sing-along. This is Farewell to the Gold by Nick Jones from Penguin Egg. It's actually written by Paul Metzers, who recorded it a few years before Nick Jones in 1981. I'll see you next week.
Shotover River, your gold it's waning, and it's years since the colour I've seen. But it's no use just sitting and lady luck blaming. I'll pack up, then I'll make the break clean. Farewell to the gold that never I found. Goodbye to the nuggets that somewhere abound. For it's only when dreaming that I see you gleaming down in the dark, deep underground. It's nearly 2 years since I left my old mother for adventure and gold by the pound. And with Jimmy the prospector, he was another. And to the hills of Otago we were bound. Farewell to the gold that never I found. Goodbye to the nuggets that somewhere abound. For it's only when dreaming that I see you gleaming down in the dark, deep underground. Well, we worked the Cardronas, Dry Valley all over. Old Jimmy Williams and me. They were panning good dirt on the winding shot over. And so we headed down there just to see. Farewell to the gold that never I found. Goodbye to the nuggets that somewhere abound. For it's only when dreaming that I see you gleaming down in the dark, deep underground. Well, we sluiced and we cradled for day after day, making hardly enough to get by. But then a terrible flood swept poor Jimmy away during 6 stormy days in July. Farewell to the gold that never I found. Goodbye to the nuggets that somewhere